The Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce, originally known as the Chinese Chamber for Commerce, was established in 1910 during the Qing dynasty. Mr. Gao Xueshu, who led the unification of overseas Chinese businessmen in Siam, served as the first president of the Chinese Chamber for Commerce. From its pioneering work in supporting fellow Chinese traveling to Siam, to rely on the royal graciousness of the King of Siam, to its role in strengthening the bond and goodwill between two nations. When a typhoon struck Guangdong in 1924, Mr. Liao Boshan, 9th President of the Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce, was granted an audience with His Majesty King Rama VI to report on the situation, following which His Majesty granted funds to help the Chinese people, earning overwhelming gratitude and appreciation from the Thai-Chinese population. On January 14, 1930, Their Majesties King Prajatipok, Rama VII, and Queen Rampai Pani graciously accepted the humble invitation from the Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce to preside over the opening of its new office. His Majesty King Ananda Mahidol, Rama VIII, and his brother, later crowned King Bhumibol Adulyadej, graciously visited the Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce on June 3, 1946, while on a tour to visit the populace. On January 26, 2003, His Majesty King Maha Vajiralongkorn, while holding the royal title of Crown Prince, graciously visited the Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and was humbly welcomed by Dr. Boonsong Sifuongfong, 17th President of the Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce. On December 12, 2015, Her Royal Highness Princess Maha Shakri Siriton, while holding the royal title of Crown Princess, graciously presided over the 105th anniversary celebration of the Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce, and also used a traditional Chinese calligraphy brush to write a blessing in Chinese to commemorate the event. On December 6, 2019, the Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce, together with the Thai-Chinese People's Association, submitted a humble invitation to Their Majesties King Maha Vajiralongkorn and Queen Suthida to preside over the grand opening of an exhibition titled Under the Royal Graciousness of the Shakri Monarchy, with Their Majesties graciously accepting the invitation, Mr. Jitti Tangsekpakdi and Mr. Nanangsok Puttapon the 26th and 27th President of the Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce, respectively had the honor of welcoming Their Majesties to the event. His Majesty King Rama X granted a royal declaration and bestowed the honorary plaque upon Mr. Nanangsak, the current 27th President of the Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce. For over a century, the Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce has played an important role in promoting and strengthening the economic, social, and cultural cooperation between the two nations, and has had opportunity to welcome leaders and dignitaries from China, including, in 1978, Deng Xiaoping visited Thailand and was graciously granted an audience with His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej and Her Majesty Queen Sirikit. Deng Xiaoping was also a special guest at the royal ceremony of His Majesty King Maha Vajiralongkorn, then Crown Prince, marking his entry into the Buddhist monkhood. The Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce welcomed Jiang Zemin, former President of the People's Republic of China, Li Peng, Li Ruihuan, Zhu Rongji, former President of the People's Republic of China, Hu Jintao, also Wu Bangua, to Xi Jinping, current President of the People's Republic of China during his tenure as Vice President. Later on, welcoming Wen Jiabao, former Premier of the People's Republic of China, Jia Qinlin, Yu Zhengsheng, and Li Keqiang, current Premier of the People's Republic of China, has graciously visited twice, with his latest visit taking place in 2019. Another important event in the history of the Thai-Chinese Chamber of Commerce was the celebration of the 60th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. His Excellency Mr. Apisit Vejjajiva, then Prime Minister of Thailand, along with more than 8,000 honored guests, were present to commemorate the anniversary celebrations. The ideology of performing good deeds has continued into the tenure of the current president, Mr. Nanongsak Puttapornmonkon, who was appointed to be the 27th president of the Thai Chinese Chamber of Commerce on February 10, 2020. The inauguration ceremony was attended by Professor Emeritus Dr. Kasem Watanachai and His Excellency Yang Xin, Privy Councillor of Thailand and Chinese Embassy Charge of Affairs. Thai Chinese Chamber of Commerce President Nanongsak Puttapornmonkon announced that the Chamber would continue to promote trade and investment aligned to Thailand's economic development policies with China's One Belt, One Road initiative in order to drive sustainable prosperity for both nations.
泰国中俄总商会新第27届会董会工作重点有：一、继续秉循老一辈诚信经商、刻苦创业的精神，弘扬中华优良传统，团结互助，促进泰国社会和谐进步，培养新一代接班人，共同推动会务发展。二、全面深化泰中两国的经济发展，支持两国工业、中小微企业及电子商务、高新产业的合作，推动两国商贸合作与双向投资。三、用新思想、新方式为深化泰中友谊，促进两国文化、教育的交流及各领域合作，做出更新更大的贡献。
Following Mr. Nanongsak Puttapornmonkon's assuming the position of the 27th president of the Thai Chinese Chamber of Commerce, he recognized the impact that COVID-19 would have on the economic, social, and living conditions of his fellow Thai and Chinese. Mr. Nanongsak therefore donated 15 million baht to the Chinese government through His Excellency Yang Xin, Charge of Affairs at the Chinese Embassy in Thailand, to help alleviate impacts from COVID-19 and as a gesture of friendship from the Thai people. In addition, the President and Vice Presidents of the Thai Chinese Chamber of Commerce joined together to respond to the spread of COVID-19 in Thailand by donating funds, consumer goods, medical supplies, and equipment to help alleviate hardship and suffering. Donations of 10,000 personal protective equipment (PPE) and 100,000 KN95 masks were made to the Thai Ministry of Public Health to further distribute those supplies to Chulalongkorn Hospital, Ramatipodi Hospital, and Siriraj Hospital, as well as to hospitals operated by the military and the Crown Prince throughout Thailand. Donations to assist Thai and Chinese civil societies totaled over 30 million baht, reflecting the determination of the Thai Chinese Chamber of Commerce to promote strong relations between Thailand and China and to reciprocate assistance given by Thailand.